in this field. Ma'am, we welcome you, and we would like to request you to please accept the e-memento that you can see on the screen presently. And the mic is all yours, ma'am. Please continue with your session, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction and for the beautiful memento. It means a lot to me. Thanks a lot. Good evening, everyone. Respected chief guest of today's function, Dr. Nalini, Professor and Head, Department of Social Work, Pondicherry University. Our founder president, Dr. Radhakrishnan Nair, Dr. Khasrul Islam Ji. We have Dr. UNB Rao with us today. We have our founder, former president, Dr. Vinod Chandra. We have Professor Dr. Gautam Gauri sir here today. And I welcome all these eminent guests, eminent speakers. We are at the end of 3 days of deliberations on the topic, crisis management through life skills. And if you permit me, let me just quickly share my screen here with you today. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Yes, Gauri. Yes, Gauri.
Yes, visible.
Yeah, thank you. So this conference was on crisis management through life skills, and this was a very relevant theme because we have all faced for the last 1 year the crisis of the pandemic, where a small microscopic organism has brought the whole world to its knees. And we all have our own different ways of coping with this crisis. So for me, that coping with crisis began by, I started cultivating a small garden in my windowsill. This is not my garden. The picture is only for representation purposes. And I was very happy lavishing love upon my plants and watching them grow. But imagine my grief when all of a sudden my plants just stopped growing. I was doing everything that I was doing earlier, but suddenly my plants stopped growing. And I didn't know what to do. I tried everything I knew. And then I did what we generally do when we are in trouble and we don't know what to do. I called my mom. And I said, this is happening and my plants have stopped growing and I don't know what to do. And you know what she said? She said, just take a pair of scissors and prune them. And I was aghast and I said, you're telling me to cut my plants. I have grown them with so much of efforts. I love them. I will feel the pain. They will feel the pain. Why should I do it? And she smiled and she said, a little bit of pain is required if you want to grow. And this, my friends, brought to light for me that, when I was wondering what is the difference between a person who handles a crisis with life skills. With life skills, I mean, all of us have life skills, but a person who is trained and who practices life skills as compared to a person who is not consciously practicing life skills. I think the difference here is how we look at the crisis, how we respond to the crisis. Do we look at a pain as something being, I cannot take it, I don't want to take it, why is it happening to me? Or do we look at that pain as something temporary and at the growth as being something which is permanent, the growth which comes through the pain. So here, basically, I think the difference is in the attitude that we have towards crisis. And a person who has learned to use life skills to face crisis knows the importance of having the right attitudes and values, along with the right knowledge, the right skills, which lead us to positive behaviors. Our attitudes and values, they say, are hallmark for us, and they leave a mark on everything that we do. And this has been evident in all the speakers' talks in the conference today. Many of them spoke about, how our indomitable human spirit needs to really come up and how we need to overcome the crisis, because we will not be defeated. We will be resilient. Gauri sir spoke about psychological, how do we maintain our mental health in the place when we are faced with crisis situation. So these are all responses. And from where do these responses come? They come from our attitudes and values. And that attitude and those values we saw in the AJMAL Foundation when they approached us Indian Association of Life Skills Education, with a proposal of holding a conference. First, it started with a webinar. I'll tell you about it. So a conference on the theme of crisis management through life skills. Now, this shows their attitude of not only turning an adversity into an opportunity, but also an opportunity where you add meaning to people's lives, where you really add value to people's lives by sharing about how life skills can help one manage crisis. When it started as an idea for a small 2-hour webinar. You're not going to believe this, but this is true. We started with, thinking that we'll have a 2-hour webinar. And then our founder president, Dr. Radhakrishnan Nair, gave it the shape of a full-fledged 3-day conference, the first online conference that we have had. And I think till date, the biggest one. We have close to 600 participants registered. We have speakers from all over the world. So it's turned out into quite a big event. And I think the reason that all of us, I hope all of us have gained something through this, I think this is because of the collaboration that we have had with the AJMAL team, and mainly because of our commitment, our joint commitment to this vision that the importance of life skills needs to be showcased. It was a pleasure to work with the AJMAL team, and I'm not going to go into details and talk about everyone, but I really appreciate it. It's been a huge learning journey. Especially, I must mention Dr. Azad's name, because when we work with people, we learn a lot of life skills from them, just observing them, just being with them. And when I worked with Dr. Azad, and I've known him for some time, the kind of positivity that Azad sir, you bring into everything that you do, the kind of solution-focused approach that you have, the kind of attitude that you have, that no matter what, this problem is just so small, we will solve it, kind of a thing. You have a solution for everything, sir. And that is something that I really learned from you. Also, the care that you take, not only of your team members, but also of the IALSE team. So thank you very much, sir. It was wonderful working with you. There was so much to learn from so many people, the technical team, Dr. Mustafa and Dr. Preetham. Dr. Preetham's very, very meticulous work of doing the research, collating everything, being so on the top of things. Dr. Akash Ali, one night he told me at 12:30, Madam, I'm driving home. Once I reach home, I will send you the document. And he sent me the document somewhere around 2 o'clock at night. So this is the kind of commitment that was shown by people in the conference. And whether it had the impact that we hoped for or not is something that we will know only when we hear the participant interactions and when we listen to the feedback. But I think for us as an organizing team, it was tremendously, I think, valuable for us. We gained a lot, and I would like to thank all of you for making this such a memorable experience for all of us. So, what are the learning takeaways from these 3 days, and how do they not just remain learning into the mind, but they get translated into action? Like Nair sir always says, that you have to act on what you know. It's no use just knowing things. So what are the learning takeaways for us? So I'm just trying to connect these learning takeaways quickly to the 3 dimensions that we have, the 3 things that we really deal with in IALSE, that is training, publication, and research. Training is our core strength. And what came up in this conference is, apart from training, we have trained teachers, we have trained youth, we have trained peer educators. Apart from these trainings, what we also need to focus on, what is really required in a crisis, is to look at the people who are at the end of the spectrum. Because it is these people who are the most affected when it comes to any kind of crisis. So the ones who are gifted as well as the ones who are marginalized. So what we would like to do is, we would like to look at training programs specifically targeting needs of these end of the spectrum populations, because their needs are very different. And we need to evolve different training programs for them. And this is a space where we would like to step into. The second thing which was brought very strongly to me during the conference, especially in the session yesterday with Dr. Balan and Ms. Rama Bhide, when they spoke about it, I realized that we would train the participant of our life skills training And then when the participant goes away, that participant is not exposed to us, but the participant is exposed to a support system. The parents, the grandparents, as Dr. Balan said yesterday, and a whole lot of others, the society, social attitudes, etc. So what we need to do is, along with focusing on our population, we also need to focus on life skills training for these support systems. For example, for training family members in life skills, parental training, these are all areas that we really need to take into consideration. And I think that would be something that ILSE would take away from this conference, and we would like to also target these groups, these support systems, because that will help in retention of the training that goes through. We also need to do something to, sort of cultivate the right kind of attitudes and values in the society. So for example, in the pipeline, we have a life skills training program through the gender perspective, because that is something that we really, really need to do at such a time of crisis where certain people might be targeted and they might be more vulnerable. So that is what we propose to do. And then what was brought to light is that everybody wants to do training, but how does one do it? There is no curriculum really that people can take up. Everybody develops their own curriculum. That is also okay. But at ILSE, what we would like to do is we would really like to do some kind of curriculum development. Nowadays, like Naya sir pointed out in his talk in the introductory session, nowadays, due to the NEP 2020, life skills are in focus and they have to be taught. But how do you teach them? That is the question. So curriculum development is something that we would like to do as an ILSE initiative. We next come to the next section that we have, which is publication. Now, in order to take life skills really to the grassroots levels, we need to have materials in the vernacular languages. We have Padma, who is our EC member, who is skilled in writing books, not only in English, but also in vernacular languages. So that is something that we would like to take up, where we publish material in different vernacular languages. And we welcome your initiatives for that. If you would like to work with us on this, we are really happy to work with you. Also, what the crisis has brought up is that we have changed. We have changed in the way that we think. We have changed in the way that we behave. We have changed in the way that we are. Now, if we have changed, automatically our life skills needs have changed. Hence, there is a need to now have materials which are context specific and situation specific. And these are the kind of materials that we would like to develop. In the pipeline, we have 2 books. Nair sir is galvanizing us into action to get those books out. And I hope, sir, the books will be out soon. But a lot more needs to be done in this area, and we would like to do that. The third and the most important thing is practitioner experiences. We have today in the conference almost 600 people. A lot of them, I know, a lot of you are working in your own areas in the field of life skills. I can see Sushi here on the screen, and Sushi, I know that you have been doing life skills work, Sunita has told me. So likewise, there are so many people who are working in the field of life skills, and you all have your own experiences, which are extremely valuable. But unless we meet people and unless we talk to them, we don't know what work they're doing. So what we thought, and this is again Nair sir's idea, he's a storehouse of ideas for us. So again, we thought, he thought, we did not think. He thought that we can collate these experiences from practitioners, and we can put them together and make them available to anybody who is practicing life skills, so that we have a rich resource of experiences from India. And why I say India? Because life skills are context specific, they are culture specific. We can go by manuals written for somebody in UK, but they are not going to work as well for us as listening to someone doing what works and what fails in India. So if you're a practitioner in life skills, and if you would like to share your experiences with us, what worked for you, what did not work, and what would be your advice for others to do, etc. What would be your questions for others, everything. Please share it with us, and we will try to collate it together so that we have a resource to fall back on. Now, any field, any discipline grows through research. So life skills is still a very young discipline. It is interdisciplinary in many contexts, drawing heavily on theories from psychology and sociology and in training from education, we strongly feel that life skills needs to grow as a discipline. Recently, we had an orientation program for our members, and we were amazed to know that 83.3% of our members said that they would like to attend training in life skills and they would like to also organize training. That is the need of life skills nowadays. Now, if we have to do training, it would be great if we can do it based on evidence-based research. And hence, we want to provide a platform for this kind of research. This conference is a way to provide platform. This is one way to provide platform. So we would like to organize many more conferences and webinars for this. Again, we are inviting collaboration here for anybody who would like to work with us in the field of life skills education. Then we have consultancy, which we would like to do. If you are already working, you need to consult us because we have very, very senior members with us who have long experience. We would be happy to do consultancy for you. And last but not the least, research cannot stay in a cupboard. It has no meaning. It needs to be out there. People need to read about it. So if you would like to disseminate your research, we would be happy. Please send in your papers and we would be happy to publish it in our international journal. Consider it for publication in our International Journal of Life Skills Education. We have a lot of dreams, but we need your help to make those dreams come true. We need you to join us and we need you to work together with us to facilitate, as we say, the power of choice. These are the values which are very, very important, which have come up in this crisis situation. Compassion, hope, originality. Just one moment. I hope the PPT is visible now. Compassion, hope, originality, integrity, collaboration, and empowerment. So with this, I would really like to thank you for patiently listening to me. And I really hope you will join with us, the students, the faculty members, the practitioners, the researchers, anybody who has a passion for life skills. Please let us work together. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.